Hello everyone, this is John Stubblefield, and I saw the other day that Disney put out their recipe for Dole Whip and Doubletree Inn put out their recipe for their chocolate chip cookies. And after 15 years of having players beg me for my recipe for what they lovingly call cookie biscuits, I decided to make a quick video and show you how to make Dr. Stubblefield's cookie biscuits. So for simplicity, I've already mixed a couple of things. In this bowl here, in the green bowl, there are 2 1/3 cups of flour that is sifted. I also have a little extra flour here because sometimes you need a little extra, and don't have to be too precise in those measurements. It can be a little more, but 2 1/3 cups roughly, and then a little extra. I've also put into this bowl a teaspoon of baking powder, baking soda, not baking powder. I've made that mistake before and it's awful. A teaspoon of salt. So that's all the dry ingredients. Into this, I'm also going to put in 1 cup of chocolate chips and 1 cup of the Reese's pieces. In this other bowl, I've already pre-mixed 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, and that's packed down, 3/4 of a cup of regular sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, and then I also have 2 sticks of unsalted butter that has been melted. So I'm going to pour the butter in. There was also 2 egg yolks, not 2 full eggs, but just 2 egg yolks. And what I like to do is mix all of this up. So this is the sugar, the brown sugar, the eggs, the butter. Mix that all together. Try to get it all to combine a little bit. And then once that combines, and one thing to remember is when you melt the butter, and typically I just melt the butter in the microwave, but you want to let that butter cool a little bit, because if you pour in hot melted butter, you can actually cook the egg yolk. So once you've mixed that, you just combine the wet and dry ingredients all together. And then I just use my hands to mix. So make sure you've washed your hands before you start. But really, I just kind of go down to the bottom and just kind of flip it up like this. And sometimes I'll turn. There's not really a set number of times or any science to this. It's really the more you do it, you kind of get a feel for what it should look like. I will tell you that resist the urge to overmix, because it will kind of combine together on its own. And if you overmix it, the cookies tend to spread out and they don't come out the way that you want them. So typically when it's something like that, and I know there's still a lot of flour mixed in that, you say, well, that's not all mixed together. Trust me, that will be perfectly fine. So what I do is I'll just wash this off, and then I'll get the cookie sheets ready. Now I have already preheated the oven to 350 degrees. And so I'll show you how I prep the cookie sheets once I wash my hands here, and then we'll start making the cookies. Now, what I like to do, and we have 2 different size cookie sheets today, what we have available, is I like to put a little foil down on the cookie sheets and hit it with a little non-stick cooking spray. And then what I typically do is I will take a paper towel and wipe off any of the excess, and just kind of make sure that it's coated every area. I've tried it on non-stick cookie sheets, skipping this step, and typically it just doesn't turn out the same way. The cookies kind of, I don't know, they just spread out, they burn on the bottom, they just don't come out the same. Now what I do is I just start making the cookies. So just grab a little bit, and what you'll notice is, in the time it took me to get the cookie sheets prepped, is all of this, the white flour that was on it's all kind of been absorbed, and I just make cookies that are about this size. Now this recipe should make roughly 24 cookies, or 2 dozen. Sometimes you get a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but it's roughly 2 dozen cookies. And I just kind of go by feel. And right now the batter feels pretty good. Sometimes if it was too wet or it felt, you know, kind of gooey and it was really sticking to my hands, which you can see right now it's not really sticking to my hands, then I would take the extra flour and just sift in a little extra flour. So like I said, I'm not too concerned when I measure the flour. Sometimes I end up making it with right at 2 1/3 cups. Sometimes it's more like 2 1/2 cups. I really just go more by feel than by actual measurement of the flour. And I know from watching enough cooking shows with my wife that baking is supposed to be a science, but for me it's an art. And that is my wife laughing in the background, because she knows how little artistic ability I truly have. Okay, so now we have our 24 cookies. I'm gonna put them in the oven. As I said, the oven is preheated at 350 degrees. So I tried one on the bottom, one on the next rack, and what I will typically do is I will split them halfway through. They bake for 10 minutes. Okay, so our timer just went off. I'm gonna take these out of the oven, and they look like they are ready. So there's the first 12, the next 12. Now you'll notice some of these baked up a little bigger than others, and I think that really has to do more with the cookie sheet than the recipe. This one cookie sheet's a little thicker than the other one, so some flattened out, some stayed big, but this is typically what you see, these bigger, thicker cookies. I think that's why the players always call them cookie biscuits. I've enjoyed making them. I've made them for 15 plus years, probably made thousands of cookies in that time. Okay, after 3 or 4 minutes, what I like to do is take them off the hot cookie sheets and put them on a cooling rack. They tend to cool better here. Typically, this is about the time my kids show up like hungry locusts coming out from all over the house to get the cookies. They are definitely best warm. I recommend a glass of milk as well. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please hit the subscribe button below. We're going to be posting some more content, some different stuff in the next couple of weeks. Thanks so much. Happy baking.
What do you guys think of the cookies?
Yum, yum.
Can you give me a thumbs up?
Don't forget to like and subscribe. I think they already said that.
You're recording, aren't you?